Smash the like button from early, folks. Get your talking points, etc. in. Let's go, man.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on, folks. Can we get to 100 likes by the end of the stream? Smash the like button. Big up to you lot on Twitch and all of those things, people. I love it. Are we live? Of course we're live. People deluded. I'm back again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night. Big up the Twitch gang. Make sure you're using Amazon Prime if you're on Twitch. Make sure you're following on Playback TV as well. That's a new platform we're trying to build up. And of course, YouTube is the bread and butter. Now, I have to say, big up you lot, people. It's our birthday. Now, you lot and myself will be a bit confused. Apparently, 8 years ago, on the 12th of September, I started my YouTube channel. And, you know, there's been a lot of highs, there's been a lot of lows, there's been a lot of environments I've been exposed to. I've met a lot of you lot physically and in person, and again, it wouldn't be possible if I didn't start the YouTube channel, but if you lot didn't support the thing. So yeah, big up yourselves, people. One love as usual. So yeah, happy birthday to us. Now, before the international break and obviously after it, there's been a lot of Arsenal news. We're not necessarily happy about what we did in the transfer market. Calafiori and Odegaard add to our concerns about our playing staff. Declan Rice is suspended for the North London derby. We have the North London derby to speak about, and obviously today it's been announced Mikel Arteta has signed a new 3-year contract. Now, some of you rightly so would have said, oh, could he have committed his future a bit longer, 5 years or so? You don't typically see managers do that. And obviously, you know, for Arteta, it is a physically demanding job, and you do imagine if and when we win major honors, if he wants to stay or try something else, who knows? And again, it's a big show of faith. Obviously, it could be seen as a feel-good factor going into the North London derby. I think every Arsenal fan can see that, you know, Mikel Arteta, there's a lot of criticisms, but generally the pros are being outweighed by the cons. And I think, you know, in terms of the rebuild, making us competitive again, making sure the fans, the players, everything around the club and the sentiment is singing from the same hymn sheet, that's great. We are now in our potentially our third title race in his 6th season. And for me, if you rate Mikel Arteta and you think he's arguably the best manager in the league, excluding Pep Guardiola, and a great manager of tomorrow, then you need to be held to high standards. In the same way, if Bukayo Saka plays well, we praise him. We do shaky things, there's criticism. So yeah, people. And obviously, you know, his contract was running out at the end of the season, so it's lovely to not have that kind of cloud above us. Now, unless Mikel Arteta's form feels, well, the club fall off a cliff and we, you know, not in the Champions League and we're not doing what we're doing, it doesn't really matter, quote unquote, whether we win the league or not. And I know a lot of you will probably be a bit more positive and a bit more negative in that regards, people. So yeah, big up yourselves. Let me know your thoughts. We're going to get into all of that news and all of that business. Make sure your notification bells are on, because there's a bunch of content to come from myself. And if nobody flops, actually, there should be some other, you know, collaborative pieces to come out. Big up the Americans and you lot in other countries, because the time zone isn't nice. It's early in the morning over there. It's just gone past noon UK time. Good morning / good afternoon, brother. Right back at you and everyone in the chat. Much love from New York. You already know. Come on and shout at the Twitch gang. And big up DG Nation, man. We're back again, Floody. You're right. Fantastic news. Huge boost for the fans and the club. Super Mick. Big up the New Yorkers, and happy birthday to you as well, man. Good afternoon, Richie. And big up you, because I see you on Playback. The future of the club depends on a number of factors, not just on the contract length of the manager. 100%, Roy. Of course, you know, ultimately everything comes from the owners, so it's down to them to keep putting people in place and providing Edu, Arteta, and the players with you know, the tools to do what we want to do. Of course, 100%. But I do think, you know, when you've got Mikel Arteta and you know, our DNA and everything's in his image, it does kind of help with the health. Now, I don't think anybody should be given a free ride. I do think there's a lack of balance within the Arsenal fan base. I think there's some that, you know, praise Mikel Arteta to high standards, and when things go wrong, don't hold him accountable. And then I think there's them overly negative people where the truth's in the middle. Personally, I think the conversation has shifted into, can you deliver us major honors? Obviously, we're fighting Manchester City. I do think as a club, there's a lot of self-inflicted problems we put in place to make it harder to, you know, do the improbable task of beating Manchester City to a league title. But you need to hold him to high standards. If I think you're one of the best managers of the present and long-term future, if I think, you're this guy, then I have to hold you accountable for things. And we need to start delivering. I think we need to have patience. I do think we need Pep to leave. But yeah, you are right, Roy, man. You are right. James, big up yourself. 2-3, you're always here. 3 years is the perfect time. It's almost like he set his time frame. Next 3 years, we need multiple titles. I hear that. And to be honest, if I'm Mikel Arteta, again, there's some people that say he's been given a significant wage boost. Realistically, as a manager, obviously Arteta loves the club, all of that stuff. But if you're this guy and, Arsenal would have to start again in the next, if you've signed a 3-year deal within the next 12, 18 months, the club have to be focusing about giving you another deal, really and truly. Where if you sign a 5-year, of course you can get renewed terms, but it kind of weakens your hand in that regards, man. New poll, DG, how many major honours will Arsenal win in the next 3 years? 0, 1, 2. Sorry, 0, 1 to 3, 4. Ask the chat. Unfortunately, on YouTube, you can't end the. You can't. I should have consulted with you lot, but you lot let me know your thoughts. You can't end the poll and start another one. You can only do that on Twitch. How many honours will we win? I don't know, man, because there's a lot of factors, man. I think we've got a young, exciting manager and team. I think we're improving year after year. I know I can't say the transfer window covered myself with, extreme confidence, but there's some good additions. Of course, you've got City, you've got things like that. I do think the depth of this squad and the ability to cope with that is a factor. Not to disrespect any of our players. And of course, it's easier said than done. And I know we're not going to we've been linked with Musiala, lol. I know I'm not going to wake up tomorrow and we've got Vinicius Jr., the next Neymar, and all of these things. But one does wonder, definitely where the Champions League is concerned, do we need those players of stardust, really and truly? Do we need to be a bit more aggressive? Because I don't know how the club are feeling. I think Mikel Arteta has done a lot good and has a lot of mistakes. I think his ambition's there. I don't think Edu's done the best he can, but I think he's done okay and he's harshly treated. It comes from the owners because, again, it's easy for me to say. But I do, and again, if you can find players for a couple of thousand and they're great and they do what we want them to do, great. Equally, if you have to spend the money like Declan Rice figures to a degree, Kai Havertz, great. But for me, I am starting to believe now. Again, it's not as easy as this, but you look at the Ezes, the Isaacs. Do you do what Sir Alex Ferguson was doing? You pinch a couple of these players from the top clubs outside of the traditional top 6, because it does feel like, obviously, I'm going to sound like a hypocrite because I do think we need more depth in our side. But in terms of the 11, it's not like we need to find a centre-back, a defensive mid, a striker, a goalie. It's like, if everybody's fit and we named our strongest 11, regardless, because I think we'd all have different ones, you can make a case of an Isaac up front. You can make a case of another inside forward on the left-hand side, a Isaac, a Nico Williams, a Eze, a Kudus, etc., etc. Not necessarily these names, but yeah, it's difficult. And major honours, I don't know, man, because we need a lot of luck. I don't think we've quite maximized everything internally at the club. All of our resources in terms of bringing in players got spot on in terms of outgoings. I don't think we've got the best out of our existing players. Indirectly, I don't think we've covered the depth, but next 3 years, I'll be amazed if we don't pick up an FA Cup or two. I'd love the Premier League or the Champs. Now, anything in life is possible, but I would describe the Champions League for us at this moment as impossible. The Premier League as improbable. So I don't know where we go with that, man. But it'd be disappointing if the next 2 odd years we don't win the league, especially because, you look at the end of last season, Arteta and Odegaard's speech and everything that comes out of the club. And I know, the club haven't covered themselves with glory in totality. But for me, in the first time in a while, it finally appears that the talking off the field is somewhat being matched on it. Let's be honest, during the Emirates era, there's been a lot of lip service. I love Arsene Wenger. You could accuse him of that. Ivan Gazidis had that. Big up Una Emre, but he had that. A lot of people used to talk and it didn't correlate. Now, I'm seeing some consistency personally for myself. Big up the Aussies, 9:36 p.m. in Australia. Hope he wins us at least 2 major honours before this contract finishes. And also, you have to wonder, Arteta, this is his first job. Now, as much as he's come to love Arsenal and things like that, he's a guy that if he became available, a lot of top clubs would want to speak to him. And you would imagine a lot of top, again, I'm not overrating him or anything, but if Carlo Ancelotti leaves Real Madrid tomorrow, if Pep Guardiola leaves Man City tomorrow, Arteta's got, whether it's possible or not, Arteta's got to be on that shortlist. So I'm sure he's got other ambitions. I'm sure he's held in high regard. Obviously, this is a physically draining task. And at what point does he want to walk away, if he does want to walk away? Being devil's advocate, and I think the club are singing from the same hymn sheet. Don't get it twisted. There's certain luxuries that have been afforded to Mikel Arteta that might have resulted in him at previous clubs being sacked. But, being devil's advocate, is he sitting there like a bit like us and thinking, you know what, we're flirting with success. If I could just get this, that, and the third, we might win a league title, will be significantly stronger. And if he isn't getting what he needs in the whole totality from those above him, does he say, you know what, I'm out? I don't know really, but for me, it gives, for me, the contract beyond the obvious. It's a talking point that we don't have to talk about. You look at Mikel Arteta and several players at the squad; they've all signed new deals recently. Obviously, we brought a few players in through the door. The transfer market is irrelevant until January or next summer at the very least. But if Edu and those that make the decisions are beginning to talk with potential new additions long term, you see stability. Now, again, I don't want to overrate it, because on one hand, we should be doing this as a club, but it's nice to have some stability for once, And I would say, where you look at Mikel Arteta, Saliba, Martinelli when he was in great form, Bukayo Saka, when these guys have signed their contracts, we've got it done very early. In fact, that's the biggest thing I'll give Edu on the contract front. I think you've been spot on with renewing deals. How many times in previous years would we run into a season with speculation over these sort of individuals? I don't know, man. Big up DG Beard Gang. We've come a long way. Aye. Big up the 5 hairs on my chin, man, for sure. If he doesn't win in the next 2 years, he has to go. But is he going to? Because, again, the new deal could tell you, not that anyone's got a free hit, but regardless of how this pans out, it pans in with our long-term project and the phases and the process and all of these kind of things. Do you trust Ethan versus Spurs, or is it too much for him? Both. I do trust him, but naturally it's going to be too much for him. You ain't been in that environment before. You ain't started a Premier League game before, much less of that magnitude. Obviously, you're going to be outside of your comfort zone. If I give the example to swimming, it's like Ethan has learned how to swim in the paddling pool, but you can stand up in that water. Now you got to be thrown in at deep end. I have technically, no doubt he can cut his teeth there. Tactically, of course, you're asking a lot. Physically, you're asking a lot. But within the next, even in the month of September, end of the day, Ethan needs to get some minutes. He has to. We haven't got much options in midfield. He's going to get some minutes. Now, for me, a part of me wants to start Ethan in that game, if I'm completely honest. But if I was Mikel Arteta, I would probably, at least from the start, look to the more seasoned professionals. I know people don't want to hear it, but I personally think for that game, Kai Havertz has got to go into midfield. You are looking at Jorginho. You are looking at Thomas Partey. On the topic of Partey, you're praying he stays fit. Obviously, you've got Ethan who could play in midfield. You could throw Timber into the mix. I've even seen some people speak on potentially Calafiori. Do you change to a back five? I know we haven't seen him play midfield for Arsenal, and he struggled in that inverted role. But when we signed Kivior, a big thing Arsenal fans were saying is he spent a year for Spezia playing in midfield. So yeah, bro, the devil in this is the Cronkies. Let's not call people devils, but I hear that. But at the same time, yeah, can we really blame the Cronkies for the last few years? Because for me, again, in terms of money for the Isaacs and all of those kind of things, we haven't done. But I personally feel anything good or bad in the last 2-3 years has been consequential on Mikel Arteta and Edu and what they've been provided. Have we always spent money the best way, etc., etc.? So you could argue, ultimately the mentality comes from those who own the club. But yeah, I think I definitely like the, Josh Kroenke speaking with Arsenal and all of these kind of things. It seems like there's a lot more healthier rhetoric around it, but I don't look at them like the owners that I look at City in that. And that's why I'm so on. And I keep saying Arsenal need to maximize the resources we can. I don't think I think they would like to win. I don't think winning a Premier League title for the owners is like the be all and end all. And you could argue, you know what, they sit there and say, when we came into this club, we were looked at as the devils. Obviously, we've had protests and whatnot. We're doing okay at this moment in time. So yeah, man, Kroenke's out before Arteta goes. They're not going to go, man, because it's a good long-term investment for them. And obviously, this seems to be Josh's kind of love child, Arsenal versus his dad's, man. So, yeah, man, it is what it is. No, only using money generated by the club that's not investing, which is true from a business point of view. It kills me to say it, but I rate the Cronkies' approach, if I'm brutally honest. But if we know how they work, how much, can we use that as an excuse for those that they employ? Because the dynamics at factor. And even with the Cronkies and the lack of spending and not investing and all of that, is that genuinely a reason as to why, we are concerned about our summer transfer market and the depth? Because what if the Cronky said, we provided you with a lot of money and made some unpopular decisions with ripping up contracts, with spending 65 million on Kai Havertz, 100 million on Declan Rice. We need to see something with outgoings. You need to use what's available. Because let's be honest, there's been times Mikel Arteta hasn't elected to sign a player when the resources have been there. Has Edu done everything he's wanted to do? So I'm not too sure. And for me, in the last 3 years, specifically the last 2 that we've seen, have we not won a league title because of the Cronkies? I genuinely believe not. We didn't have enough. We didn't have enough depth the first year we went for a title, and Saliba's injury was a knock on there. Last season, it was the fine margins that went against us. You could look and say if we had more attacking resources that December period, we could have turned one defeat into a victory or a draw and more points on the board where we'd have been. So yeah, if Saliba commits long term, will be huge. He recently signed a new deal. Barca and City would defo give Arteta an interview. Even Barcelona. I mean, it's not me trying to gas up Arteta. If Arteta walked out of Arsenal Football Club tomorrow, there's a lot of clubs that would be interested. Even some of our top rivals. You know, they've gone from questioning the process and whatnot to anytime a manager is struggling or a young manager gets a job, Arteta and what Arsenal have done up until this point is used as an example, man. Big up yourself, North. Saliba, we gone within 24 months, 750k a week will be irresistible no matter what Arsenal does. I mean, it is what it is, man. I've seen Thierry Henry leave. I've seen Patrick Vieira kick up a fuss. At the end of the day, right now, we've got a young, impressionable manager, young, impressionable players keen to be the stars of tomorrow. When you're in your mid-20s now and them kind of things and you keep getting close, but ultimately you're too far away, then you start to veer and think what's going on. For me, I've made peace a long time ago. One day, William Saliba will play for Real Madrid. It is what it is. Hopefully, we can achieve something in that time. Arteta is one of us. Arteta is one of us, not one of them. Arteta is one of us, not one if them. I'm not sure what you're saying there, my guy, but big up yourself. In my opinion, this needs only solidified the idea that the owners are satisfied with the state of the club. Of course they're satisfied. He just needs a big trophy or two to shut the haters up. Only thing that will shut everyone up. And it'll be good for it. It'll be good for us, man. That's all I want. Arteta is only there to match Kroenke's requirements. 3 years is a good length, keeps Kroenke's on their toes, match Arteta's ambition. Arteta's got also match his own ambition, really and truly, if I'm honest. Calafiori did get injured while representing Italy. It's kind of been radio silence where he's concerned. It seems that Odegaard's taking over stuff, and you would imagine, you know, Mikel Arteta's press conference, we will go live tomorrow. He'll be asked about his new contract, no doubt. He'll be asked about the fitness of a few players, and amongst other things. If I was Arteta, I wouldn't have signed a new contract knowing I'm a good manager and the board aren't serious about winning. So why did he then? Because you got to remember, this is his first job. And it's almost not that he can do no wrong, but you can do no wrong being devil's advocate. I don't want Arteta sacked, but what would it take for you to get sacked at Arsenal? If you finish third, you're not necessarily going to get sacked. Unless you thought the team falls off a cliff, there's no harmony, etc. And I'm not saying Arteta leverages that, but let's be honest, this is a sweet gig. Arteta showed big bollocks to take this Arsenal job, especially after Emre and not too far after Wenger, let alone it being your first job. But, you know, as a manager, but let's not act like it's, you know, Arteta's cutting us any favors. It's a two-way street. They've got a young, impressionable manager, which they showed it's a similar model with some of their other own sports clubs. He's got a new job. He's got a good job as his first gig where you're not really going to live or die by trophies. Of course, the longer it goes on with the better we get and getting so close. But so far, the sentiment is around Arsenal need to win a major honour. So, yeah, personally, I know it's been announced today. And I know they've obviously been talking for a while, but I don't think it's been a thing where it's been hashed out in 24 hours. I mean, some of you have been part of my streams. It's not that I know anything. I think this contract personally was signed a long time ago, and it was just waiting on the time to bring it out. Now, in terms of unity, which you need in a North London derby, maybe that was why it was announced this week. Maybe because it's not, I wouldn't say it's negative around Arsenal, but it's not exactly positive. You know, the referee, Declan Rice nonsense, the injuries, frustration around the transfer market, seeing how good City are, Liverpool under their new manager, wondering if it will be the third time lucky in the title race. So maybe it could be an uplift. Havertz's going to play 10. Could, but is it a 10 thing or is it? I mean, some of the intangibles are still going to be the same, but is it a flat midfield three? Honestly, it'd be interesting to see what we do in the North London derby, man. Maximize resources, and that's what I don't think Arteta and Edu have done. I think they've got 90% out of everything. You know, that extra 10% now is what we're missing, and that goes for the players as well to get over the line. Maximize resources, but spunk money on Vieira's, Lokonga's, et al. No end of players let go for nothing. Pepe, etc. Club is terrible at maximizing resources. To be fair, it is dangerous getting into the contract stuff, but to be fair, there was a while we're just taking the hit and cleaning up the mess from previous regimes. I'm not happy with Fabio Vieira at Arsenal in terms of his performances. Lokonga the same, but signings go wrong. You know, signings do go wrong. And I think under Mikel Arteta, if I'm brutally honest, the players that have worked out, or the decisions on the playing front that have worked out versus not worked out, has been a lot better. You know, Gabriel Jesus hasn't been the goal scorer we would have liked, and maybe that's our naiveties, but that's worked. Many people don't like Zinny. Zinny brought something to the table. Calafiori's just signed for the club, but we can see he's good. Timber, he's been good. Havertz is, you know, the sentiment around him is a lot better. Declan Rice, he's here. You know, we did sign Partey, and again, Partey is a bit of a mixed one, but he's been all right. You know, without going into it, Benjamin White's worked out. Ramsdale, we didn't maximize ourselves for him, but he worked out. I think the hit to miss ratio has been a lot better. Of course, you have, you know, somehow Edu's gone to Brazil in a day and age where you got Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo, all of these great South American talents, or specifically Brazilian, and come back with Marquinhos. I don't know for that. Of course, you know, you could say, why are we always signing goalies and centre half? So that's what I'm saying. It hasn't been perfect. I think we've got 90% of the things right. It's now about that 10%. I'm always moving like I can't count, really and truly, because that's now the difference between winning or losing. Like, again, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, because being perfect, which I would genuinely think we were kind of perfect last season, it's not enough against City, and we're chasing a 2-point deficit at this moment in time owing to the Brighton game. With financial fair play, it's difficult for owners to just straight invest. So what are we talking about? I hear that, and you're not wrong. And I don't knock the Arsenal self-sustaining model, because I think there's reasons and sensibility around doing that. But if they really wanted to invest like that, they would. Look at, like, everybody's finding ways around it, and we have spent money. Like, that's one thing that we can't say we haven't. We might not be doing what a Newcastle are going to do in a few years. We might definitely not do what Chelsea's doing. 100% we're not doing what United's doing. But we can't act like we're working with pennies. If we sell Saliba, I want 150 plus. I feel super indifferent about this, but let's win a trophy. I don't know how I feel. I don't know, because I expected naturally he would have signed a new deal. So it's not that it's not news to me, but it's not news to me per se. I think there's more reasons to stick with Arteta at this moment in time than get rid of him. Like, I'm definitely not Mikel Arteta out. I'm not an Arteta apologist, 100%. I'm not. But I think there's more reasons to keep him. But again, the longer this thing goes on where we don't win a trophy, and as I said, for me, the rebuild, what you're doing with the young players, all of them things, all the tactical stuff, Arteta, one love. If we're now looking under the guise of major honours, this is now where I'm judging Arteta differently. And there might come a day, if there's someone similar to Arteta that makes us filled with a lot more confidence to get over the line, decisions have to be made. But as you said there, we need to win a trophy, man. I'm sick of injuries as well. Arteta doesn't deserve a new contract. One FA Cup in 5 years, Arteta out. I don't know about Arteta out, because okay, cool. I'm not saying you're wrong, and I don't think Arteta's done anything to be deemed untouchable or unsackable, but we sack him today. Where do we go from it? Because a lot of people are already saying throw in the towel. We're going to have to start again. I'm exaggerating, of course, with this example. But if the new manager comes in and says, I'm playing a back three, I don't care about set pieces. I don't care about high lines. I don't care about winning duels. I want the smaller technical players. We're literally going to start again. The future is more of the same, you know, right, guys? Man are talking about Arteta out. I'm enjoying the tears. I think we're all sick of injuries. Arteta is a rookie manager. The owners are clowns. If I owned Arsenal, I would have sacked him for bottling the league twice. I mean, there are reasons to sack guys for not winning trophies, but I would reckon Mikel Arteta is doing, if he is a rookie manager, fighting against a season pro and Pep Guardiola, running it down to the last day of the season, he's doing all right. Now, don't get twisted. I'm not one of them Arsenal fans who, oh my God, we finished second twice. It's so great. I don't fault it, not to be ageist, but there's a lot of probably Arsenal fans who only know about Arsenal in the Emirates era, and this is as good as they've seen Arsenal. So yeah, man, I do think Arteta has made a lot of mistakes. Naturally, I think the man himself would, but yeah, man, I think he's calm at the moment, man. That doesn't mean I'm just gonna back you unnecessarily. You know, if the sentiment gets really negative, there's issues. Facts, TG, Arteta is comfortable. Other clubs, they pressure him to win or you're out. If he doesn't get Europe consistently, then they'll get rid of him. Fair enough. When we were winning the FA, but mediocre in the Prem, we were all angry. Now, all of a sudden, the FA Cup is make or break for Arteta. I think it's a case of he just needs to win a trophy. The Cronkies are winners, Super Bowl, NHL champions. Our time is coming. I hope so, man. Cronkies, no sport. You randoms on YouTube have no clue how to run your house, let alone Arsenal. Damn. But I don't know what that is, my guy. I can't comment on that. New signings still got to prove themselves in an Arsenal shirt for me. 100%, but... I don't mean, no doubt there'll be highs and lows. I'm cool with. I think Calafiori is a great signing. I think Mikel Moreno's quite underrated. I'm not saying he's the bee's knees and all of that, but I think that will be a good signing. Sterling, you need to perform in it. You're here for a year at the minimum. So yeah, it's a mixed bag. I do like the additions, and I do think ultimately there's more players that Arteta trusts. I'm not happy with the depth. Now, I don't really, obviously, I care Smith Rowe left because I love the guy, but you wanted to go, all right, cool. You wanted Eddie to go, cut. You wanted Fabio Vieira to go, cool. But the bodies in the team, it's not enough, really. And I'm not going to lie. Again, they can go. Eddie Nketiah, shoot me. Eddie Nketiah would start for me on Sunday. If he was at the club, Eddie Nketiah would play up front and Kai Havertz would play in midfield. I know it's madness, but there's a method to it. Buckle up. It's about to be a long and bumpy season. Pause. Such is football. Was far from perfect last season, bro. Of course, we was far from perfect. But what I mean by that is generally, we was winning games. We only really hit a bump in the December period. We finished 2 points off. We definitely weren't amazing. The start of the season, we were Gabriel was out of the team. We're playing Thomas Partey right back. There was all the talk around the striker and converting chances, but the bigger issue was creating. We seem to have created chances, not been able to put the ball in the back of the net. This is what I mean about self-inflicting errors and not maximizing what the variables that we can control. So by our own standards, or for an Arsenal season, we definitely were quite close to perfect, but 100%. So I hope you haven't misunderstood what I'd said. Maybe I didn't convey it well enough, so that's my bad. Every club has misses in the transfer market. Let's be fair. I think the club has failed fast with Lokonga, Tavares, Vieira. Hey, and I mean, to be honest, when you look at how Arteta spoke about Tavares, he said that was an analytical department signing, so he distanced himself from that. I told you, Tavares would not bang because we were all here looking on Arsenal.com about it. When he's giving his interview, a defender is talking about, I like to shoot with my right foot. Alarm bells are there. So yeah, I think the hits to misses ratio have been all right. I do think we're a bit naive in that we get good players and we put them in positions where they're good for the squad. They can pull their weight, but ultimately we're putting them in positions where they don't have them extra percentages. And I personally think it's a unique conversation. We got 91 Premier League goals. So I think we all overrate, including myself, the need for a striker. But you can't sit here and say, if not a blockbuster striker like a Isak, could you have got a rotationary option like a Giroud, where last season they might have only scored 5 to 10 goals for us throughout the campaign. But those 5 to 10 goals might have come during that December period where, again, them defeats could have been turned into draws. Those draws could have been turned into 3 points where we would have been. That's where, personally, I think we're kind of naive. City are good. They're very good. City are light years above every team in the Premier League, and probably apart from Real Madrid, if that, in world football. But do we honestly believe, we didn't win the league because of City, but do we honestly believe, based on the 38-game period for the last 2 years, Manchester City being the bee's knees and this, that, and the other is the only reason? It's not. We had it in our hands and we crumbled it. And again, you're not going to take, whatever the amount, if assuming you win all 38 games, the maximum points tally, we're not going to get that. You're going to drop points. But this is where we need to arrest what we can arrest. We can't control much other than that. Bring me Zidane or Tuchel, both available. I don't think we're going to see that. Man are in here arguing about decisions they can't make, arguing with a multi-sport billionaire owner's choice. Get a grip. It took 5 years. That's how bad it is. Look at where he's brought us. We didn't bottle it. There was injuries and City's in the way. New contract welcome. I hear that. Part of Arsenal's DNA is to back manager and stability. Only real outliners are Ryuk and Emre. Fair enough. Thing is, the owners and the board see trophies as the outcome of the process, not seen as a key metric. Those are stability and sustainability. Good point, really, to be fair, man. You will have 9 starters versus us. Arsenal, stop crying. We have Van der Ven, Bissouma, Solanke out. I don't think any. Ronnie, again, big up yourself and made the best team win. I think there's concerns about the injuries, but I can only speak for myself. No one can say I've been crying. In every stream I've done this week, I've said, regardless of that team that rocks out there, there's still enough to beat Spurs. Leicester gave you a lot of game in midfield. Newcastle gave you a game. Of course, some of them individuals at those teams are great, but there's enough to get a result. I'm not expecting it to be pretty. I'm expecting it to be quite ugly. I'm not expecting it to be a quality football game, but just muck and get the job done and keep it moving, man, really. Tuchel is not an Arsenal manager. Eddie rather have Saka or Sterling play up front. I think personally, which we don't have, against Spurs, you can run that false 9 thing, but I do think you need a proper striker. And we can mock Eddie Nketiah. He weren't the guy, but let's not act like Eddie hasn't done a job for us in big games. I'm sure a couple of years ago, he actually had a great performance against Spurs at their place. Again, just isolated to a game. Trossard scores versus Villa at home. We win the league, not Arteta's fault. I mean, it's a bit of a cop-out, really and truly. Arteta's assembled the squad indirectly. Everything is, and if we're gonna blame Trossard got 12 goals in the league last year. So what about all the points he earned us? don't really make out. We're all in this together. Like, we all share the W's and L's. Like, and that's one thing that I find jarring, if I'm completely honest, in that when things are going well, Arteta is the guy. He's done it all. When there's any sort of negatives, we're quick to get at the players. We're quick to ask questions of Edu. We're quick to ask questions of the Cronkies, which I'm not saying is wrong. But why is there a reluctance to question the gaffer? Because you put people in positions. If I'm really harsh, we got 91 goals. But those fine margins where you just need someone to put the ball in the back of the net, there's been issues. Mikel Arteta and Edu were central midfielders. We're still having issues around central midfield. Why do we keep signing goalies and defenders? I'm not saying it's wrong. I love the defensive depth, but there's certain, we can't move like everything's been perfect. We can't. And yeah, Trossard could have scored in that game. But then again, I look at the Brighton game where I think I'm more on the players recently than Arteta. But Arteta, you didn't really do what you needed to do in that game as well. Again, you could look at the Villa game, which I agree, the 2 against Villa. Indirectly, Mikel Arteta in the North London derby last season at the Emirates, Declan Rice has come off. Jorginho's come on in an end-to-end game. We've had frailties there, and also the players let him down in that. We took an hour to turn up against Spurs. You rocked up with Jorginho and Zinchenko in Chelsea. You rocked up at Stamford Bridge with Jorginho and Zinchenko in a high-intensity game. So indirectly, if I praise you for how you've built the squad, sometimes the tools we have available, there's issues. And if I'm brutally honest, we've seen the script where injuries are concerned. My point being is everybody's in this together. Arsenal are punching up Spurs light work. Spurs forgot who their older brother is. Spurs need to thank us. North London, as a North Londoner, there's no relevance if we don't rock over here from South. I've seen the comments. You just know a lot of you have never played the sport. You really don't get it. When a person to team is just better than you, you don't whine, you go again. Too many coach bums here. After Arteta ran off the wavy IC3 players, I've kind of viewed him as a suspect. Bit harsh. So if you don't like the facts, but people are banging on about trophies when the owners have clearly stated that trophies are not the priority. I just keep pointing it out. They don't care. Saka, Havertz, Sterling up front. I would love to see Sterling. So I'm 100% Cronky out. It don't matter who the manager is. Fair. We should have bought Gyökeres. Now he's performing like a 100 million player. I like Gyökeres, but you look at the Gyökereses, you look at the Osmans, there weren't really credible journalists talking about us getting that. In fact, where you look at it, the striker thing, we was linked with them two, Xerxes. It just felt like paper talk. The only one that looked like there was some tangible proof is Sesko, because the Athletic were talking about such. It's like when Pool fans throw Diaz under the bus when he plays bad, but do him when he's scoring goals. I hear it, man. Players got to step up. Everybody's got to step up, man. But I'm not going to kill Trossard for not bagging against Villa. You know you should have scored against Aston Villa. But you could argue Trossard in the second half of the last season, along with Kai Havertz, they were two of our better players. And also, goals don't count for double. But how many times has Trossard either rescued us from the dead, clinched the late winner, or solidified the winner? So I'm not going to kill a man for not turning it on against Aston Villa. He even went and put his former club Brighton to the sword. There was time we could all do that with all of these players of when they could have turned up, man. It's jarring. Yeah, man. North Londoner, actual North Londoner. Can't wait till one actually comes from the academy. Man City stated from the start they wanted to be truly elite and win everything. It's true. And they've got what they've got what they're looking for. I mean, some would say they've not necessarily done it the right way or the organic way, but yeah, man. Kroenke out wide, so we can get run like Chelsea, United, Everton, and BMS. I must admit, I'm past the Kroenke out stage. If you could give me Saudi ownership with common sense, I'm on that. Like, if we were, to be honest, if we were being run the way we're being run now, I'm not saying it's perfect, but if we was being run the way we're being run now, but we've got Saudi money so that, like you said, we don't need to do the Chelsea thing and all that crazy stuff. But if the finances were there and there was a willingness to get Eze, get Isaac, get Gyökeres or whoever, then that would be it for me, man. As I said, there is a lot to like about how the Cronkies go about stuff. But yeah, it's a delicate situation, man. Let's support the club. Winning and losing is part of the game. You can't just win every single game and every trophy. This isn't some FIFA career mode. Facts. You can't spend more anyways. Why can't we? Whole country. So Saudi money, bro, there's ways around stuff. We have been linked with Bruno, Isaac, Kudus, and many others that have banged after their move. Why can't we get these types before they double in value? 100 for Isaac now. I'm here for that, man. And to be honest, you look at Saliba's addition, you look at Saliba, there's definitely a couple of players at Arsenal. Odegaard's value has doubled after signing for 30 million. I must admit, there are some times where you think, grab these players, man, because once they have a proper standout season or whatever, they're great. Saudi ownership never. Listen, Saudi money, Qatar money, Russia money. I don't really care what country it was. If we were backed by a nation and we had some sensible people running it, like as I said, if we had that money available with kind of how we're running now, we're lit. Because even City, I'm sure they've had a lot of duds, and definitely when they're new kind of years ago, you go back to Mark Hughes and them kind of guys long before Pep Guardiola, I'm sure they've misspent finances. But City have money, Chelsea have money. The way it's being run are completely different. You know, City have shown they'll walk away from deals. They've walked away from Declan Rice, from Jorginho, from several examples, really. They're not just spending money because they've got it, essentially. And that's what we need to do. You don't want to be like, I do think the Chelsea project sooner rather than later is going to work. But yeah, man, Arsenal fans are going to lose their heads. He's already lost it. You know, again, I'm not saying there's reasons to, you know, there's reasons to be positive. There's reasons to be negative. But like some Arsenal fans need to pull their knickers up, if I'm honest. Like if the season's over, this, that, the first, bro, we're 3-4 games into it. I'm not saying, you know, the season could very well crumble or it could be amazing. But why are we doing all that now? Let's take the reasons to be optimistic. Let's consider the reasons to be not negative, but be wary and see where we go with that. At the end of the day, do I feel nervous? Not necessarily about Spurs, but September as a whole, with the injuries, with the sentiment, with the backdrop. I'd be a liar if I told you that I didn't. But what are we supposed to do? We're backed into a corner now. Do we curl into a ball and cry like some bitches? Pardon my French. Or do we man up and we try a thing? I don't know. And everybody's allowed their opinions. If you want to cry, pack up the season, do the victim thing, that's great. If you want to puff out chest, that's amazing. But everyone's allowed their thoughts, man. Hey, let's respect everyone's opinion, man. Let's respect everyone's opinion. Social joins and inner circle, you lot are part of the furniture, man. Let's be friends, man. Let's be friends. Football is funny. People form different opinions. Bro, a week is a long time in football. You know, so imagine 38 games. You know, as much as the sentiment around the club may at this time be negative, and again, it's all big ifs. If you beat Spurs, if you beat City, if you do something against Atalanta, if you go on a run, everything changes. You know, some Arsenal fans, big up Declan Rice, I love him, but you're not better than Rodri. Arsenal fans were waffling about how good he was last season. He's better than Rodri. A bit of iffy games in the early part of the season where the man said he's not fully fit. People are doing dissertation pieces. It's crazy. People dared to question Mark Saka. It happens. A lot of people didn't want Mikel Arteta, which they're not wrong. A lot of people wanted him sacked. You know, let's be honest. You know, and this is why I guess you have to big up the ownerships because they've stuck to their process. There's been times where if they sacked him, hindsight's a wonderful thing. But when we were finishing 8th, let's be honest, you could have been sacked. You genuinely could have been sacked. The FA Cup happened at the right time. It bought you some time. Look at Ten Hag. And for me, Ten Hag is a better manager than Mikel Arteta. Let's hope Ten Hag never leaves Man United. He can create something very exciting. And I personally think, you know, the power shift is going to go back to the red side of Manchester. Ten Hag is so good, so good. You look at the players he's got. Casemiro's playing out of his skin. Anthony is an absolute baller. Yeah, man. It is what it is in that regards. Bro, it is what it is, man. We reactionary. Football's a reactionary game. In its short, football's an illogical game. Like football's an illogical game. We should not love something in this life more than we do football. Some people love their football club more than their own kids. You know, win, lose or draw, we're always going to be here. We've all done that. Like, I'm not watching football again. I hate the team. And then Monday you're back. So I can understand it because ultimately it's an emotional game. Very few things in life can get grown men and women crying. Football can. You know, you look at Thierry Henry when he scored on his return. I dare anyone to go on YouTube, open up another tab and look at that Henry goal on his return. Anyone that didn't shed a tear, boy, crazy. I didn't even cry when my heart got broken. I've cried over football, bro. Like, it's crazy. Like, football we love it. And I love it because we've got a community here with you lot. So it is what it is. Facts, fuck the victim mentality. We have a good squad. We just have to support now. Only Odegaard can derail the season. I mean, it's the knock-on effect because not only do you know, when you think of Odegaard, who some of you wanted Buendia and James Maddison over, well, it is where it is, boy. I don't know about that. Obviously, you think of Odegaard, you think of, you know, creativity, final third, all of that. But we lose a defender. We lose a lot defensively with Odegaard not being there. We lose the organizer of the press. We lose essentially our first defender. The minute these men have the ball in their half, it's Kai Havertz or it was Jesus once upon a time on Odegaard. And there has to be a contingency plan. It's not going to be the same. There isn't a like-for-like Odegaard option, or if not necessarily levels with Odegaard on ability, there isn't someone that can just do what he does. Like not an ideal world because you never want injuries, but if we didn't have the issues collectively that we're facing, I genuinely think there's a reality where Jesus goes up front, Kai Havertz and goes in the 10. Now, I don't really want to see Kai Havertz in the 10. On the ball, it's not a nice watch at all. But off the ball, he's kind of similar to Odegaard in that he can do whatever Mikel Arteta demands of him in that regard. People are quitting 3 games in, shameful. It's a victim thing. I'm not on that. It is what it is. Ten Hag is a bum. Don't rate him at all. He's clear of Arteta. He is. He should never leave Man United, man. This is the 9th month of the year, and we've only lost 1 league match. The owners have more sense than a lot of Arsenal fans. And we ain't lost this season. Again, things can change, man. Like, Arsenal are not perfect, but yeah, man. Arteta's taking us as far as he can. He's just not the guy for us. I mean, that could be right. But this is what we've got right now. There's no reasons to be positive right now. We should have gotten a striker. No damn excuses. People are going to be angry. This has been going on for 20 plus years. When will it end? And I don't think you're wrong with the frustration. But at the end of the day, and I'm not saying you shouldn't have these feelings. What can you change? Because protest can't change anything. I don't want to be bad mind, but if I was Stan Kroenke when it was a lot more negative around Arsenal and fans are not happy, I'm not saying you're not going to listen to the fans. But if you imagine you're Kroenkes and you're in the Emirates, you look outside the window, you're seeing Kroenke out, this, that, and the third. I'm just going to close my curtains. You lot can scream and shout as much as you want. You're going to come and watch the game on the weekend. Like, you're not going to break in and do a madness. Like, it is what it is. Like, what's going on? I therefore am not happy with the collective transfer business. The isolated additions we brought in, I'm here for that. But I didn't leave the summer window thinking, yo, City, be careful, or not even just City, maximizing what we need to. But like, we can't go back in time now, bro. Like, we've got what we've got. Whether it's good enough to get over the line or not, this is what we're rocking with. For me, I can't do that. I'm not a victim. I'm not saying you're a victim, but I can't do that. I can't, as a person, I can't just throw in the towel. I'm the sort of person, you could give me a million reasons as to why something isn't going to work. I will literally focus on the one reason it is. And if I can't change it, what could I do? If this was something I could make decisions about, then yeah, I might have something. What's your predictions for the North London derby? In terms of the game state, I don't think it might be entertaining for the neutrals, but I think it's going to be horrible. I don't, even when everybody was fit at Arsenal, we weren't exactly at this point in the season at our fluid best, playing that sexy football. So obviously, with a number of changes not being there, we're going to lose a lot of dynamism, a lot of dual winners, a lot of fluidity. I just want to get the job done. I want to exploit Spurs' high line 100%. I want us to take advantage of set pieces. I do expect to concede purely because North London derby, Son takes a tumble, Maddison takes a tumble, they get a penalty. I want it to be 10 times better than it was last year, because great, we won. We found ourselves 3 goals up. But last year was a weird one in that we went 3 goals up, but we weren't exactly dominating. And then obviously, I think we was inviting Spurs back into the game, summed up by 2 stupid mistakes from Declan Rice, and obviously Raya's pass that didn't work out. Maybe Trossard on another day. You know how they remix things, could have been a pen. So I want more of a professional performance. And for me, at the end of the day, it's a squad. Like, whether you're a starter or not, it's a squad. You all will get to bask in the glory if we win a Prem or the Champions League. So step up now. This is what is needed. Against Villa, let's be honest, we were shit. You got the job done. There's every reason to be concerned. Spurs, to a degree, with their injuries or not, should be licking their lips. There's a good enough team to go out there and put in a performance that wins the game. Isolated to that. And then we'd have to deal with traveling to Italy, and boy, Man City, innit? Like, I think our top 6 record was great last year, but I'm not sure, man. 2-1 to Arsenal. Yeah, prediction, I'm going 2-1 Arsenal. If I didn't say that, they'll score, but Raheem scores the winner. Be nice. I don't care who scores, but it'd be nice for Sterling to score. It'd be nice for Martinelli to score, owing to his stuff. Fans are buying the merch. Emirates is full every week. Cronkies are calm, bro. He's calm. Should have, would have. Well, it didn't happen. Let's work with what we have and support the club and the manager, which is true. We did, I do think we can do both. You can support the club, the manager, and look at hindsight and look at where we could go better. I don't think it helps anyone doing the over negative thing. I don't think it helps anyone to just brush under things and say, let's just support. I don't believe in blindlessly supporting anything in life. I love my football club. If things go right, great. If things don't, question marks. If things that I didn't see work at the time, if I didn't see it working, in hindsight, you lot know me, I'll be the first to put my hands up. I don't believe in blindly following anyone. And for me, because I rate what we're doing so much, I have to ask questions. But what I would say is, again, we need to keep working, but these are better questions. These are better questions we're asking than 3-4 years ago, man. Like, again, You look at, for me, I don't know why, of recent memory, being at the Crystal Palace game with the whole Xhaka thing, that's the lowest I've felt as an Arsenal fan. And I've seen my team hold 8 at Man United. I've seen us lose Champions League finals. There was a period when we had the kids in the early Emirates era. We're getting into the League Cup and Chelsea are battering us. There's been a lot of lows. I've seen Man United cheat to end our invincible run. There's been a lot of lows at this football club. But one of the lowest I felt is the Granit Xhaka shirt thing, just because of, even now I'm getting PTSD. I can remember being sat in the red seat and just, like, there's thousands of people there. Obviously the things are going on the pitch, but it felt like time stopped, and I'm just looking around. I'm like, yeah, we've become a pantomime, like this is actually a joke. Like, this is actually nonsense what we're doing. So to see where we are now, again, we need to keep going. We will miss Odegaard's work rate. At the end of the day, though, why I want to win trophies, because there's nothing that etches this in history. Unless this is what kickstarts, a period of domination for us. If football ends tomorrow, I don't know about you lot, but it's not raw. We finished second. Fans like going to the games now. Like, need something with history. I'm about to see some nasty stuff from us. I'm here for it. Tough, sturdy football. I'm here for it. For the Spurs game, I don't care how they do it. Just get the win, man. I'm not expecting pretty football. Just get it done. Just get it done, because it might not be our strongest team, but whether Timber's going in midfield, Havertz is moving about, Jesus, Sterling are coming into the team, Jorginho's out there. I'm not saying this is ideal, but there's more than effing enough to put in a performance against Spurs. Even with the strongest team, there's no guarantee you're going to do a thing, man. So, yeah, man, it is what it is. I'm not sure what you said at the start there, but huge news, just saw the last 10 core stays, in fact, and now can return to focus on the grind. DG, why don't you appear on the football terrace? You'd have to ask whoever runs it, man. Mate, Man City lad, go away. We've all been blindly following Arsenal Football Club for years. Again, I can only speak for myself. I don't blindly follow anything. I don't blindly believe anything. So if you're blindly following anything in this life, I think it's dangerous personally, man. But that's just me. I respect everyone's opinions. If we get into the tabloids and whatnot, people, again, as you would have known, Mikel Arteta has agreed a new 3-year contract to remain as Arsenal manager. Apparently, ESPN say he will receive a significant increase on his existing 9 mil a year salary, which you would imagine if you're signing a new deal personally. Some would say, money's been spent. It's your 6th year now. It's potentially your 3rd title race. Get something over the line. And there is something that makes me nervous. I'm not saying we're not going to challenge. I think there is enough to challenge. I'm not saying we're not going to improve, and I'm not trying to be doom and gloom. But I just believe in life, success is never linear. And for the last 2 years, there's been question marks, but we've just been going like that. How long before there's a bit of a I'm not even in camera. How long is it like that? I'm not sure, man, but that's just my concerns. Again, The Athletic have said that Arteta's committed his future. He's agreed a new deal until 2027. Obviously, his existing deal prior to this was expiring at the end of the season. So we've got the manager here for the long term. Oh, wow. Anyways, it's been confirmed on Arsenal.com as well. Let's see what Mikel Arteta, Kroenke, and all these guys have had to say. Josh Kroenke said, we're delighted to have extended Mikel's contract. Mikel is a dynamic and passionate manager. And I'm not going to lie, this has nothing to do with your managerial stuff. And pause on all of this. But, for the Brighton game recently, I was invited to, watch it via the press room for the first time. And I watched Mikel Arteta's press conference after the game. And obviously it was short, he was frustrated and whatnot. There's something about the guy. There's some aura about him. There's something. I understand it now. When I thought it was just what they normally say, but when these players sit there and say, "Oh yeah," when Arteta was talking to me about signing for Arsenal, and when Arteta tries to say this to me, I listen. He makes me look at things differently. I hear it, because I'll be honest, man. Like, he didn't speak directly to me. He's speaking to everyone, but I've only, in my short little content creating time, the only time I felt anything close to that is when I got to speak to Zola. Like, there's something about the gaffer. Hopefully we can win something. But yeah, he's a dynamic and passionate manager who is relentless in the pursuit of excellence. Let's hope that lives up. He has a deep understanding of Arsenal's values, and since joining us as head coach in December 2019, time has flown. He has taken the team to another level in an Arsenal way. There's a great collective team spirit at the club with the strong relationships we hold between us and the belief in what we do. We look forward with excitement and confidence as we continue our aim to win together. Edu said, we are really happy Mikel has signed a new long-term contract. It's a very positive and proud moment for everybody at the club, an important part of what we're all working towards. How long is Edu got on his contract? I'm not too sure. I wonder how long Edu's actually got on his deal. But yeah, moving on from that, Edu also said Mikel has shown his quality since the very first day he joined us, not only as a football manager, but as a person with wonderful values. We have a strong belief in what we are doing and what we want to achieve together. Mikel's new contract gives us stability and clear direction as we aim for new heights. The gaffer finally said, I feel extremely proud, very excited, and I'm looking forward to what is coming next. I'm proud to be where I am, have the relationships that I have with everybody at the club. I feel extremely lucky to work every single day with good people and the ambition we have here. I feel very inspired. I feel challenged. I feel supported, and I want to do much more than what we've already done, which again shows you the manager isn't happy. Together with the players and everyone at the club, we are looking forward to the coming years. I hope you are here for years if we keep improving. With our supporters who have emotionally transformed the club and the team, our supporters have transformed individuals, and we are different now. You can tell that we are different. And for me, it's down to them. We look forward to continuing the journey together. A full interview with Mikel is coming shortly. Fair enough. Has it come out yet? Arteta's greatest moment so far. What's this? First match as captain. I mean, I hear it, but come on, man. Clearly just want to see the managerial stuff. I was there. Yeah, I mean, yeah, cool. You know, you did that. Dramatic win against Bournemouth. We did beat City. I mean, they're lazy, man. These are not Arteta's greatest moments as Arsenal gaffer. Anyways, man, I was just reading this for myself, people. I won't bore you lot with that, but the Athletic did a similar piece. You know, Arteta got, is up there for one of the fastest managers to get to 100 wins. We all know about the many things we've done and the many metrics. I think everybody's aware of that, so I won't bore you lot with that, people. Goal difference plus 78, boy. Goal difference in the last 57 Premier League games, boy. Man United -1, damn. Fair enough. What's happened here? Arteta has already been told that the club needs to win trophies as the manager gets set to extend his contract. Where though? Arteta said previously, we need to be competing for the top trophies in the game. That's been made very clear to me in my discussions with the owners, Stan and Josh Kroenke, and the senior people from the club, which we quote unquote are. I mean, fair enough. But last month, Arteta revealed that his players were hungry to go one better. We had a gathering together the same evening, obviously after the season ended, with all the club players, and the players were saying to me, we're going to be better, we're going to do it, we want more. They're the ones driving that ambition, so that's always positive. Everybody was talking about the same thing, that we're not going to stop here and that we want much more. We know things that we can still do better, and how the players can still evolve. How we have evolved as a club is huge as well. Whether it's a pain, whether there are experiences, whether there are moments where you have to accept that somebody else has been better, and this is sport. You want to get to where you aren't at the moment, and that as well is really inspiring. Okay, we're not resting on our laurels. I'm here for that. Again, I can't play this because it's on Sky Sports, but ahead of the North London derby, Arsenal pass completion under pressure. Declan Rice has 97.1%. After that, you've got, I mean, that's interesting. You've got Martinelli, Saliba, Havertz, Partey, Timber. So I wonder what the absence of Declan Rice will be like going into that game. Martin Odegaard has required further tests on his injured ankle following an inconclusive scan on Tuesday. There's hope, however, that the midfielder will not be a long-term absentee, although the results of a scan he was due to undergo today should provide the full extent of the damage. The Gunners are eager not to put a timescale on his recovery, although it's clear he is a doubt for Sunday's clash against Spurs. We all know he was pictured on crutches and returned back to London via a private jet. He underwent an initial scan upon his arrival, but the original test did not provide a clear diagnosis due to the swelling around the joint. Hopefully it's just ankle swelling. There's hope today's test will provide definitive details on the injury, so we'll have to see. Such ankle injuries often take at least 3 weeks. Anything other than that is just a bonus, then it can take longer. What we have so far obtained from an MRI examination in London is that there's probably no fracture to the ankle, which is great. I still blame Edu for sending Arteta to war without enough for Arsenal to win, which is true, but no players are coming in or out of this club without Arteta say so. So yeah, we can have a conversation about how Edu is dealing with things, but if we're unable to do things in the transfer market because of money spent and having to watch a budget, then that's also on Arteta. And also, if Edu is providing him with, I got this centre mid, that striker, this, and he's saying no to it, there's got to be issues. I would like a more experienced director, if I'm honest, that could pull a rabbit out the hat. But yeah, man, and it's difficult to really criticize Edu because we don't see what you're doing. But I hardly think you're doing the business in that. And then where you look at, without Odegaard, with and without Odegaard starting in the Premier League, our win percentage is at 66.4. It drops to 52.6. Now, obviously, Odegaard's a key player. He's played the majority of the game, so the stats are going to be there. Goals per game with Odegaard, 2.1. Then it drops to 1.6. Goals against per game is still 1. Shots per game with Odegaard, it's 15.9. Without him, it's 13.3. Points per game is 2.1, and then it goes to 1.7. But we're going to just have to get on with it, people. And then we also know with Martin Odegaard, we lose a lot of passes. We lose a lot of chances created. We lose the attacking sequences with him and Saka. We lose, ball pressures and pressing from the final third, people, where you look at that in the last 2 seasons included now, he's up there. So we lose a lot. And then our squad depth, again, could be better. Many people point to why Fabio Vieira and Smith Rowe left. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. My only issue is that we don't have adequate cover, not necessarily those 2 individuals, people. So it is what it is. Odegaard is set to miss the next following game. Spurs away, Atalanta away, Manchester City away, Bolton at home. He probably would have missed the Bolton one anyways. Leicester at home, Paris Saint-Germain at home, and Southampton at home. Now, we hope for the best, but we prepare for the worst. Arsenal could make Leroy Sané the player next in line to come to the Emirates without payment. That's probably due to his contract running out. I don't know if I buy this. It is what it is. Apparently, he's entering the final year of his deal, and apparently the club are in no rush to discuss a new deal. So that's probably adding fuel to the fire. Bayern Munich plan to keep Musiala amid interest from Manchester City and Arsenal. It'd be nice because, I'm sure you would have seen him as a kid pictured in an Arsenal shirt. The German international has entered the final 2 years of his deal with the German Giants and has recently been linked with a host of top European sides, including City and Arsenal. Born in Stuttgart, he joined Bayern's academy from Chelsea in 2020 after a year with Southampton, having moved to England at the age of 7. I reckon he signs a new deal or goes to City or Real Madrid, but I'd love to be proven wrong in that regards. And apparently they're confident he will sign a new deal, but those are the sort of individuals we need. Now, I must admit, I've always said and maintained I would love Arsenal to sign Osimhen, but I think he's overrated. And, let alone the finances and dealing with Napoli, who are difficult, it didn't make no sense. And availability is your best ability. This has no relevance to this live stream, but it's here, so we might as well discuss it. Osimhen's biggest issue in the past has been availability. He has played more than 27 league games in a season only once in his career, and has also scored 20 or more league goals just once, both in Serie A in 2022-23. So if there's question marks about his end product and his availability, for me, it don't really make sense going for Osimhen, which is why I think he's a bit overrated. Allegedly, I don't believe this, Real Madrid have thrown their hat into the ring where Gyökeres is concerned. Allegedly, Arsenal are long-term admirers of Gyökeres and turned to him this summer after missing out on Sesko. We couldn't agree a fee allegedly with Sporting. I would love someone to confirm if this is true, but what I do know is 43 goals in 50 games is something that would be amazing of a player at Arsenal. Would anyone take Angel Gomez? This is irrelevant. People got a tab here for no reason. Unfortunately for him, fortunately, a law student who aimed a vile racist slur at Saka is facing a jail sentence. 20-year-old Sula Ali called him an effing black piece of, throw him in the kit, calling him an M-word and that. And this is the one thing I hate about the internet. Not that you should be being racist to anyone, but if you wouldn't say that into a guy's face, and you're probably a weirdo as well. You're an Arsenal fan. So if you saw Saka, you would have asked him for a picture. Boy, I mean, one place you don't want to be racist is prison, boy. So yeah, he ain't gonna go prison nonetheless, man. It is what it is. Right. Ali's mom helped police track down his IP address. Oh. Face the consequences, man. You want it, and this is someone studying law as well, So that's someone that could be a lawyer. That's someone that could work in something. That's crazy. Personally, I love Robert Perez, but I think he's bugging out. He said Jeremy Doku is better than Bukayo Saka. I'm not even going to read that because I don't want to get upset, man. Jorginho's back to Raheem Sterling to shine. I can't imagine he'd say anything different, but he said, the club, especially Mikel and Edu, who they are bringing. It's just right. So something good is going to happen for sure. When you see there's a player that you play together and the qualities already, how they can help more. But hey, if you told me a few years ago we'd have Sterling, Jorginho and Havertz, said you're bugging. You feel like, okay, I know how to give him the ball, so you're already ahead. I mean, Jorginho setting up Sterling for something on Sunday would be great. You don't need to get to know him. It's different. He then replied, I'm honestly not there looking at the news and stuff like that because it's mad. There's too much information and sometimes it's not even true. It was the day of the Brighton game, so I woke up and I was like, what? Then we found out that he was coming. Fair enough. He then said he's going to be great for us with his qualities. He's won a lot and he can add a lot to the team. I think it was a good signing. And as I said, I think he's going to add a lot to the team, honestly. Big him up, man. And then he's obviously said the North London derby would be a special game, which of course it is. We've announced new sponsorship details. What else have we got? Apparently Arsenal and Liverpool have learned the asking price of Mbuemo. How much are they asking for him? 40 million. With a year left on his deal, probably has an option of another one. Not the worst of transfer fees. Apparently, Liverpool had more of a concrete interest in Anthony Gordon than Arsenal. Some of you would have seen towards the end of last transfer window. We were linked with him. Apparently, we're being linked with Jonathan David again, whose contract is running down. Forget about that. I don't think he's the guy. He's had said he's open to signing for a Premier League club. We've been here before with Anthony Gordon. We're still linked with Eze. Apparently, we were interested in him before the summer ended, which is irrelevant because we didn't get the guy, man, if I'm honest with you. So, yeah, it is what it is where that's concerned. We've gone over that. What's this? Apparently, Jorginho explains the difference between Chelsea and Arsenal. Chelsea would get a trophy. The only thing I can talk about is when Mikel is here at Chelsea in any context, any situation, Chelsea would get a trophy, whatever it was, League Cup, FA Cup, Premier League, Champions League, Europa League, something to take home. It didn't happen at Arsenal before, but the mentality now is different because you can see the hunger of wanting to win. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but the willingness and hard work is there. The way you train every day, the information you have, even the pictures on the training ground, everything in the atmosphere is about winning. It's really good because Mikel put up all these messages that you see there. It gets into your mind when you see it again and again. You start to believe it. You go in and see that every day and you get into the habit of winning. It's really good because you have the motivation. All we want to do is win. The history of Arsenal is so big and everyone knows about it. It's not possible to not know about it, and this mentality is back now, so we just need to keep working the way we are doing. Of course, the expectation is quite high from all of us because who doesn't want to win? We work so hard, so why not expect and want to do that? Fair enough. I might watch that interview. Apparently, Fabio Vieira and Lokonga are nursing injuries, which doesn't help us out at all in the pursuit of trying to sell them. We've gone over that already. What else have we got? I was really keen to talk about Jorginho. Harry Gray, who I think is the brother of Archie Gray, apparently is drawing interest from Chelsea, Liverpool, Spurs, Newcastle United, as well as Arsenal United people. He's a 15-year-old who's, drawing a lot of admirers, really. And if he's anything like his brother, you might be on the move anytime soon. What's this? Arsenal's eight starters. To be fair, I think that's about right. I think Mikel Moreno will be a star, but you can't rule out Partey. I think between Tomiyasu, Timber, Calafiori, it's down to them. I think Raya Saliba, Gabriel White, at this moment in time, they're not losing their spots. The same goes for Havertz, Saka. Interesting. Very, very interesting. People in the pursuit of bringing you lot content, don't think this is all you'll hear from me today, folks, because I did a video with Gooner yesterday. I mean, Martinelli, please. I was defending your case. He has an agenda against you. Then did a video with Miles. What else have we got here? And then obviously on Sunday, it's watch along business. We will be watching Southampton versus Man United as well, folks. So yeah, make sure you're there. But that appears to be everything. Let's see what you lot are doing. I love Arsenal. I've been getting mocked for years about supporting Arsenal. I don't even care what they think, but I'd like to see my team show some ambition and win the league. I hear that. Sol's not knocking Rice, but he was no dream signing of mine. I wouldn't say Rice was a dream signing of mine. I was gassed up. And the dream signing chat jars me, man, because Arsenal fans, you know how the cycle goes. When people get emotional, all the evil comes out. Geez, it's only football at the end of the day. I hear that, but it means a lot, man. Big up yourself. Of course, I still want a striker, different profile. I would have loved a striker. I would say for me, and I know Sterling's here, I would say the one thing I'm not happy about is getting a versatile inside forward because I don't feel the striker market is really there like that. I think, I would have loved a striker and a winger, but if you got a winger that is on what Saka's on in terms of double figures, I think we could have maneuvered, man. Big up yourself, Morpheus. What a name. Pardon me, check on your nearest Arteta out, mate. They may have attempted to delete themselves. Make sure they're safe. Yeah, we hope everyone's safe. We don't want them to delete themselves because Arteta got a new deal. Edu, the weak link, in my opinion. I'd like that position reevaluated, not sold on him. I'm defo with you with that, man, because I think a more experienced guy could pull a rabbit out the hat. Maybe has better relationships with certain scouts or certain clubs and is able to do things, man, if I'm honest. Do you feel the contract announcement is typical as we are pretty thin in the squad and by announcing this is trying to get the fans on side or take their minds off the situation currently? I think it's a bit of a feel-good factor going into the North London derby, if I'm completely honest with you. And I think, you know, the vast majority of fans, not the overly emotional ones, but many people could say, you know what, I've got my opinions positively or negatively about Arteta. We can still talk about, you know, 7 out of 9 points initially, obviously the transfer market and whatnot. I just think the sooner you get announced, the better. I must admit, even for me, I think it's late by when I genuinely thought they would have announced it first game of the season. I genuinely think this was done for a while. And they're just announcing it now. So yeah, we'll have to see. The Chinese fan base is booming. That's why. Not sure on the context around that, but big up China, innit? Past performance is a key indicator of future performance. We need to be for fan and less fanatical. We just need balance in life. I'll always appreciate that, man. I'll always appreciate balance. And you know, if there's reasons to be sad, be sad. If there's reason to be happy, be happy. But you know, when times are going well, always be wary. When times are being bad, always be hopeful, man. That's the way I've looked at stuff. We've got 85 likes, people. What's that? 15 likes until we hit 100. Let's stop being lazy. Unfortunately, though, people, I'm going to have to end the stream there only because I'm conscious that, you know, I'll be live on Troops' channel, I believe, at 2 p.m. So, yeah, I'm going to go and get a quick bite of lunch and then we go again, people. And obviously I've got hella content to come on my YouTube channel. Make sure you're following on both the YouTube platforms. Links are in the description. Make sure you're following on playback. And of course, you know, with it being our birthday, you know, 8 years in this on YouTube, again, thank you to you lot's talking points, differences of opinion, engagement, general support. It's always appreciated. So yeah, people, you know, again, any news or talking points, make sure your notifications are on because there'll be videos and live streams and so on and so forth. Big up to you lot. You would have seen, you know, I did a shorter condensed piece around Mikel Arteta's contract. So yeah, you lot stay safe, stay blessed. We'll link up again in a minute, man. Peace.